Join me today as I take you on an eating adventure through the country of Romania. Welcome to Food for Thought. My name is Barbara Kerr, and this is my assistant, Claudia Welty. And it's just wonderful to be back here in the Food for Thought kitchen, don't you think, Claudia?
Oh, it's always fun.
And today we have a very special meal prepared for you. We are going to be making a typical Romanian meal. So we recently returned from the country of Romania, where we put on a health and nutrition and sort of cooking school in conjunction with an evangelistic type of seminar. And we had a really good time. And there, we just fell in love with the country, we fell in love with the people, and we really fell in love with the food. So we thought, how can we come back and do Food for Thought specials and not show you a typical Romanian meal? So today, that's what we have prepared for you. And on the menu, I want to give you first, and then we have a few little snapshots to show you. We're going to be preparing a soup called Supă de Legume, and I wanted to keep that name just Romanian, and it means vegetable soup. We're also going to be preparing for you a dill salad, some wonderful cooked cabbage. We're going to be showing you some dill potatoes and some cabbage rolls. How's that sound?
I'm hungry.
I know I'm hungry already too. But of course we couldn't come back from a country as wonderful as Romania and not bring you a few snapshots. So let's show you those now. This first picture is a picture of Ceausescu's home that he had built. It's now the Parliament building in Bucharest, and it's a completely square building, and it has about 9 or 10 stories that go underground as a bomb shelter also. This is a shot getting ready for the cooking school demonstration in the town of Alexandria, where we talked to a group of about 600 people at this center. And this is a picture of the people there in the cultural center there in Alexandria. You can kind of get an idea of the crowd. Really wonderful. They'd never had a cooking demonstration before, so they were very anxious to have this kind of information. And then each evening we packed up after we were finished in Alexandria, and we drove to a village called Ploska, and there were 400 people waiting in this small church, and we did the whole thing all over again for 11 nights in a row. And very, very sweet people. We also taught the church members how to take blood pressures, and so that they can do other health work in their community. So this is teaching to take blood pressures. And we just couldn't get over how they utilize every single bit of space. When you walk down the road, there's no grass growing anywhere.
No parkways.
No, it's wonderful. I mean, it's either tomatoes, potatoes, onions, sometimes garlic's growing. Everything, every bit of yard is being utilized. And this is a picture in Bucharest. Nick Zamfir is the pastor of Alexandria, and his wife was very ill. And we were there arranging for emergency visa for her to come to America. And of course, this picture here is Rukar. We're in the village of Rukar, and the lady standing in the middle is Raluca Ancu's mother. She was recently here doing a present special. And this is kind of at the end when we were touring around. And Claudia, my assistant, is on the other side. And of course, this picture kind of speaks for itself. It's just wonderful to see all of the animals that are there, and it just was very peaceful looking.
Like stepping back in time.
Yes, it was. And this is the home that we stayed at of the Kalotas, Samuel and Deborah Kalota, and their children Dragos and Andrew, our little paparazzi. And some of the people there as we were leaving. And so it just was a wonderful trip. And I just really miss them already. So.
It was just like a family. You went over there, and they were so friendly, so giving, and they just went out of there with their hospitality was marvelous.
And they just work all of the time. The people there just have an incredible workload. So what we want to do is just show you a little bit of what Deborah taught us. The lady that I stayed with, Deborah Kalota, she was a phenomenal cook. And she just, I mean, we never really saw her working in the kitchen, but she could just turn out one dish after another, and every
At one point I suspected she was bringing this in from some cooking
her
place.
own private catering business. So this Supă de Legume means literally vegetable soup in Romanian. And so it's very simple. We're going to read those ingredients for you now. They are 1 large onion chopped, 2 carrots shredded, 1/3 cup parsnip or turnip greens chopped, 3 potatoes sliced thin, 1 tablespoon salt, 1 tablespoon canola oil, 3 1/2 quarts water, 1/3 cup fresh parsley chopped. Now on this recipe, this is very simple. All we've done is put our 3 1/2 quarts of water, and we've put it in here to boil. So we've sliced our potato, and I'm just going to drain the water off of this. We're going to add it right to our boiling water. Go ahead and you can put this in, Claudia. Okay. And we're going to add our 2 shredded carrots. And then this soup is just going to cook after we get all of our vegetables in here. You just bring this to a boil again and just let it cook for about 45 minutes or until your potatoes get really soft. Now our onion is 1 large onion chopped. And if you want to cut this in bigger pieces, that's fine. It really doesn't matter. And the only thing you do not put in until the end is your 1/3 cup of chopped fresh parsley. And you're going to add this after your soup is completely cooked. Your potatoes are falling apart a little bit. Everything's soft. You've salted it to the way you want it salted. And right before you serve it, you put this in and just let it sit for maybe 5 or 10 minutes to kind of get the fresh parsley flavor. And that's it. The turnip and parsnip greens give it a really good color and a little flavor. And you can also use like a collard green if you need to do that. And we're going to put in a little bit of, just a tablespoon of canola oil and a tablespoon of salt. And then we'll save our parsley for the very end. And we're just going to let this cook and simmer while we do the rest, prepare the rest of the dishes. And that's how that one will cook up. Next, we're going to be making a really beautiful dill salad. This is very simple. And dill in Romanian is called barar. And when vegetables are in season, they utilize everything. I don't think that we had a single meal that was without cucumbers and tomatoes and dill while we were over there, because whatever's in season, you eat it about every meal. And I love dill anyway, so this is just a really wonderful salad. And
there was soup every day.
We had soup every day, not for breakfast, but, well, sometimes we had soup for breakfast. So they eat a lot of fried cheese, and we had a lot of bread. Yeah, and the cheese there was not cheese like what we get in the store. It was very sour. They make it from the goat's milk or the cow's milk, and then they age it. So it was very different from what we were used to. Now on this salad, let me read the ingredients for you. We have 4 cups of cucumbers diced or sliced, 4 cups of tomato wedges, 1/2 cup green onions chopped, salt to taste, 1 1/2 tablespoons canola oil, 3 to 4 tablespoons fresh dill chopped, and a squeeze of lemon. Now, we're going to go ahead and put your, go ahead and put those in. Now the cucumbers I got were the ones that are the hothouse cucumbers. They're the really long, skinny one that you can get at the grocery store. Usually it's covered in plastic. And that is the kind of cucumber that we had in Romania too. And it's really, tastes very good. It doesn't have a lot of seeds in it. So this is like a really good cucumber for the cucumber salad.
Hardly a meal without cucumber and tomato.
Right. Go ahead and you can toss this together. We have some green onion, and of course it wouldn't be a dill salad without dill. And
they literally, I think dill was in everything over there.
And we have just a little bit of oil as a dressing.
That smells good.
And I love dill. I mean, I go nuts over dill anyways. And you like dill a lot.
I love it. You're the dill queen, though.
You just kind of want a squeeze of lemon, and this is really, well, there's kind of squeezes everywhere. Just a little for a taste, for flavor. And we're going to salt this to taste, and this really depends on how much salt you want to put in. I'm just going to put in a few pinches because you've got your tomatoes and your cucumbers. Go ahead and put that through too, Claudia. You can just mix the salt through.
Oh, is that what you meant?
Yeah. Layer in.
Well, my hearing has changed since I got back from Romania.
One of the things that we found very amusing is that the word for yes in Romanian is da. So when somebody wants to say yes, they'll say da-da-da, very fast, da-da-da. And over here, of course, the word da means something, quite different, but we really enjoyed that. So this is our cucumber dill salad, and this really tastes great. And it's really nice if you can take this and just make it ahead a little bit so that it can sit, maybe refrigerate, and then cool, and the flavors blend even better. So if you can make it an hour or two and chill it before you're going to serve it, it's wonderful. So this is our cucumber dill salad. Next, we're going to make for you our cooked cabbage. And this recipe is a very, very good recipe. It takes a little while to prepare, so we have a finished product to show you, but we will get started. Go ahead and bring on the cooked cabbage. And we want to show you our new toy, which we're going to use right now because we need it. I got this if you'll just bring the ingredients. This is something that actually gets a flame on it. As you know by now, I'm sure, the burners here don't get real warm. So Claudia and I found the need for a Binford 4000. So we have something now where we can actually get a flame. So we are going to make some cooked cabbage for you, and let me read those ingredients. They are 1/8 cup canola oil or olive oil, 1/2 cup water, 2 large onions chopped, 1 1/2 teaspoon salt or to taste, 1 head of cabbage diced, 1 green onion diced, 1/2 cup parsnip or turnip greens chopped, 1/4 cup fresh dill chopped, 2 medium large tomatoes diced, 2 large cloves of garlic minced. And those are the ingredients for our cooked cabbage. Now all we're going to do is put your pan. You want a large Dutch oven to make this in because you've got a considerable amount of cabbage. And to begin with, you just take and you want to soften your onion in some water and some oil. So we have 1/2 cup of water, and we have our 1/8 cup of canola or light olive oil, and you can just put your onions right into here. And you don't want to brown these onions. You just want to cook them until they get soft.
Oh, this new stove's going to be great.
It's a great color, too.
Oh, my favorite.
Okay.
It's almost the color of my car.
Yeah, you have a really nice yellow car. Okay. So after that becomes soft, then we're going to put in our cabbage and our tomatoes and everything. You add everything but the garlic. The garlic does not go in until the entire dish is finished cooking. And then you put it in just when it's still hot, and then it has a little bit stronger flavor, but it's still very mild. I really like the taste of this cooked cabbage. And of course, when you start out with an amount of cabbage that's huge, and maybe we won't be able to fit all of this in the pan, but it really cooks down, so it's good. And next we're going to be making cabbage rolls, which we're not going to put up right yet, but the cabbage was a little bit tricky for me because American cabbage is picked quite green, and the heads are very tight, and so the first time I went to make the cabbage rolls at home, I'm like, how do you get these leaves off without splitting them? So there are a few tricks, and we'll be teaching you about that. Okay. These are cooking. Now you would just want to cook it till it's nice and soft, but we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients, which are 1 green onion, chopped, not the parsley that goes to the soup. Oh yeah. Don't be adding any extra ingredients. We'll put that up there. And we want to put in our 1/2 cup of parsnip or turnip greens, 1/4 cup of fresh chopped dill, and this gives it also nice color, 2 medium tomatoes. I'm putting these in on the bottom so we can get them mixed in before we add all the cabbage, and our salt. And we have 1½ teaspoons of salt. And the salt really can be adjusted to taste. This is still a very not salty tasting dish, so you may want to increase that a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix this around. I'm actually going to pull this towards us just a little here, so we have a little better control. Okay, you want to scoop in with your hand some of that cabbage.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Give you the really fun job. You can just like dig your hands in there. As Linda Shelton says, it's back to the sandbox days. That's definitely us.
That's where you learn all that important stuff.
Yes.
You ready for more?
Mm-hmm. Just one more handful, I think.
Okay.
Okay, because the head of cabbage that we used really was a very large head of cabbage. So if you can find cabbage that looks like it stayed on it's not on a vine, it grows out of the ground. Looks like it's been there longer and the leaves are starting to fall apart from it. That's really what you're looking for, something that's riper. So as you can see, this cabbage here will take quite a while to cook down, about 45 minutes to an hour.
Try to keep that in there.
And then and you can simmer that. And I want to show you what the finished cabbage looks like. We have some right here. So after it cooks down, it's just a beautiful color because of the tomatoes, and you can really smell the dill and I'm ready for like lunch. It's wonderful. So this is our cooked cabbage. Now the next thing we're going to make for you are the cabbage rolls, and the cabbage rolls are a little bit more tricky, but I think that you'll find that if you try this recipe that you'll really enjoy the filling and the way they taste. So the ingredients for those are 1/4 cup canola oil, 2 large carrots shredded, 1 large parsnip shredded, 1 1/2 large onions chopped, 1 1/2 cups mushrooms chopped, 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 tablespoon McKay's chicken style seasoning, 2 teaspoons salt, 1/2 cup fresh dill chopped, 1/3 cup whole wheat pastry flour, 1/2 cup grish or farina, that's just a ground whole wheat, 6 cups cooked brown rice, 4 green onions whole, 2 heads cabbage, the core removed, and 3 to 4 large tomatoes. Also we have 1/3 cup canola oil, 3/4 teaspoon salt, and the juice of 1 lemon. So as you can see, this recipe has several ingredients, and I know those ladies, they work very hard to prepare cabbage rolls. And this is not a recipe that I would make every week because it does require more work, but it tastes wonderful, and I just want to show you how they prepare this and give you a little idea of how we do that. Now we're going to move our cooked cabbage, which is starting to cook down, over to our other burner because we need to cook the filling for this. And we're going to start by putting our oil, our 1/4 cup of canola oil, into your pan. We'll turn this up on high. Let that heat up. And we're going to saute our carrot and our mushroom, our onion, and our shredded parsnip. So go ahead and put our onion. We have 1 1/2 large onions. And you want to put our carrot in, Claudia?
Mm-hmm. These carrots have not only great color, but they're good for truck drivers, small children, and rabbits.
That's great. I'm sure our viewers, they love this additional information we can give them. Let's go ahead and put in our 1 shredded large parsnip. And sometimes these are hard to find at the grocery store. Now, put in our mushrooms. We have 1 1/2 cups chopped mushroom. And we're just going to cook. Go ahead, just dump it all in. We want this to become tender, and it's going to make our filling. We want this to cook down just a little.
Ready for the rest?
Yeah, I'm ready for the McKay's. We have 1 tablespoon McKay's and 1 teaspoon paprika. And we need 2 teaspoons of salt. So it's starting to smell like Deborah's kitchen already, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You know, really, I stayed with, I think, the best cook of everybody in the whole place.
Careful, everybody's watching.
Which is really good. Deborah knows she's a great cook, I think. And it was wonderful for me but you should have seen the day I said, you know, Deborah, we've got to sit down and take some time because I'm going to take some of these recipes home with me. And with the language barrier and just an English-Romanian dictionary between us, we figured out, you know, what ingredients we needed and stuff. So it was a lot of fun, but it took us probably 2 hours to go over these recipes to figure out what was in them.
See, if you'd have studied French, you'd have been all right. She spoke French, too.
That's right. That's right. I really wish I was bilingual. I think that we're going to both learn how to speak Romanian because you never know, we could be going back soon.
Yeah, I'm learning right now. You are bilingual. You sing, you cook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, music is a language, too, right?
Sure.
Okay, now as you can see, this filling is beginning to cook down and look like it's becoming tender, and that's the way that you want this to look. Now, In a separate bowl that we have back here, we're going to put our cooked rice, and we have 6 cups of cooked brown rice. Now, I'm going to just, verbally give you a little recipe for how to make your brown rice in case you don't know what to do. And you can take 2 cups of brown rice, and this is like a short grain rice, 1 tablespoon of oil, 4 cups of water, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And you just want to bring that to a boil on the stove. Stir it once at the beginning and then cover it. Put it on low. It's going to take between 45 minutes and an hour before it cooks up and absorbs the water. And then you've got more than what you need for this recipe, but not a lot more. So we're going to put our 6 cups of brown rice, and this is going to be the filling. This is what we're using instead of ground beef, Claudia. And in Romania they can't get brown rice, only white rice. So
they have a lot of difficulties getting a lot of things over there.
There was, but one thing that I found interesting, in all of the thousands of people that we spoke to, I think I only met 2 people that had intestinal problems.
Well, you see what they eat.
Yes, they eat a lot of foods that they prepare themselves at home. When you go in the grocery stores that they do have, there's not a lot of canned foods that have preservatives and things like that we eat all the time.
They have great open air markets where you can go, and they have all the farmers bring their produce in, and you can see wonderful. That's where their dill is it's magnificent.
Oh, it is great. And this is just looking beautiful. I think I'm going to turn this off. And I need a pot holder though, because this is kind of hot. If I hold this, you can scrape this into our rice mixture here.
Oops.
Don't say whoops in the kitchen.
Not in your kitchen anyway.
No, it always scares me.
That's good.
Okay, we'll just set this in here. Okay, now we're going to mix this in. Now this makes quite a bit of filling, and if you want to have this recipe, that's fine. It won't make you can just make like 1 head worth of cabbage rolls. Go ahead and, I'll put these in. Now what you're going to do to make this sticky, the original recipe that Deborah had called for 4 eggs, but of course I'm not going to put eggs, but when you put in the whole wheat pastry flour and the grish, and grish is just, I looked at, they told me this is not cornmeal, it's wheat. So I had to come back, and I knew we had cream of wheat as a cereal, but when I was in the health food store, we have something that looks exactly like this, which is farina, and so you can find that. And that amount was 1/2 cup, and we're putting in 1/3 cup of whole wheat pastry flour and 1/2 cup of chopped fresh dill. Go ahead and mix that in there. And I'm going to switch over to my favorite kitchen tool.
And this is what causes it to stick together well?
Yeah, there's the gluten in the flour, it makes it sticky. And besides that, the brown rice is sticky to begin with.
Right.
So you really have no trouble when you cook this up, turning this into a...
It really is a great fork.
Oh, it is. It's wonderful. A Foley fork. We need someone to reinvent them, I guess. Maybe Mr. Foley's dead. I don't know. I can't find them in the stores anymore. I found this at a garage sale, yard sale. Bought it up faster than...
My mother found one and sent it to me.
And I'm not a yard sale kind of person. I think my mother actually was the one that found this at a yard sale too. Sent it to me. So now we've mixed this up and you've got your filling. You might want to wait till it cools just a little bit before you... I'm going to put that right back in the bowl. So you rinse this off my hands. Okay, now comes the tricky part. We're going to make the cabbage rolls. I'm going to set this filling aside and show you what we have prepared here. Now what I've done is taken a head of cabbage and set it in boiling water. And the reason for this is, go ahead and give me those plates. You can have one and I'll have one. And this is very simple, but yet if you don't put it in the water, you may have a difficult time taking your cabbage leaves off, and you want to remove the core. Now this one is this one's fallen apart, so we're just going to toss it aside. And you're going to have some that are going to break. Don't worry about that. You've got plenty in your head of cabbage. So we just want to separate one, pull it off here.
That water
Actually,
hot?
it's very hot. Let me pour some of this water out.
Oh boy.
Go ahead and just move that lid just a little, and I promise I won't burn you.
Oh yeah.
Well, now you know about my promises. Okay. Let's pull this off. Okay. Now you can see really truly how simple this recipe is to make. The first day in my kitchen, it was really the funniest. Okay, we've got a cabbage leaf here. Let's show you how to do this before we have to go to our break. You're just going to take a half a cup or a quarter cup of your filling, okay? And then put it down here at the base of your cabbage roll, okay? Take your leaf, just scoop it together. You're going to roll this over. You can tuck in the ends. And mine don't look nearly as pretty as Deborah's. This leaf's kind of big, so. But you get the idea. You're just going to take this and roll it. This one's split, and I've had this sitting in here for a while, so it's a little bit overcooked. But what I do is take my head of cabbage and just sit it in for maybe 5 minutes, and then you can take it out, and that will release the cabbage leaves enough so that you can roll this. So the next thing that we have to do quickly is just make up the topping for this. Let me show them how you do that. After you roll up all of your cabbages, you're going to take a Dutch oven and line it with green onions on the bottom. And then you're going to take that and you're going to take your cabbage rolls and you're going to set them around in a circle, okay? Make like 2 or 3 layers. Then you're going to fill it partway with water, cover it, and cook that for about 30 minutes. You want to simmer it. And at 30 minutes, then you're going to stop and take some of that water out, maybe drain it down almost completely empty. And then you're going to put a topping over it, which all you do is take like 3 or 4 large tomatoes, blend them in a blender with 1/3 cup canola oil and 3/4 teaspoon salt. It just makes a liquid tomato. It's beautiful. Pour it over the top of your cabbage rolls, stick it in the oven to bake for a little while longer, and that's it. And if you would like some more information on today's recipes, please stand by for the address for Food for Thought.
If you've enjoyed the recipes and cooking tips in this program, you'll want to order our Food for Thought resource sheet. We'll tell you how you can order the cookbooks you've seen used on this program, along with other information that will help you cook healthful, attractive vegetarian meals. For your free copy of our Food for Thought resource sheet, please write to us at Food for Thought, P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois 62896, or call 618-627-4651.
I have had a great time cooking Romanian today, haven't you, Claudia?
Oh, I'm going to have a better time eating Romanian.
Oh, good. Well, we only have one thing left to put in our soupa de legume, and that's our parsley. So go ahead and stir that in. It just looks delicious. Our cooked cabbage is cooked down, and we have our finished cabbage rolls here. As you can see, these are much smaller, and of course, you can cut a cabbage roll in half. That's fine too. We have our cooked cabbage, the finished product here. It's beautiful, smells good. We're going to eat lunch as soon as we're done. Our dill salad, and here's a potato dish that we are going to include in the recipes if you write in for that today. And we just want to say bună, which is hello and goodbye. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you'll be here with us again. Are you tired of eating the same old sandwiches every day? Join me today as I'll share some great summer sandwich ideas. My name is Barbara Kerr, and I'm glad you joined me today. Today we're going to be talking about sandwich ideas. Are you tired of eating the same old sandwiches every day? Join me today as I'll share some great summer and the cornmeal will just give it a really nice texture. And then you just keep adding a little bit more as you need it. So, looks pretty good.
Close.
Okay, we'll just like stack them up here. You don't need them quite that. If you get them too thin, they're not going to hold together as well. So, we'll get it out. There you go. There's your second
part.
burger. Let's put a little more oil in. You ask really hard questions.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is one of those quarter pounders, all right. Okay. But I think really if you press down hard on it and you don't, kind of roll it in your hands like this to press the edges in, your burger's really going to split on the one on the side. So you just want it about that with. And really all that you need to do is bring this to a low boil and stirring it constantly. It begins to thicken. And then after it's thickened, you're going to pour it into a mold. Now what I like to do at home is take half of it and put it in the refrigerator into a square mold. And I use something that is the shape of this, okay? Usually like the bottom of a Tupperware container or something, of that nature. I put half of it in the fridge, and I like to put half of it in a container that's the same shape and put it in the freezer. Because once you freeze this cheese block, then
Gadget woman, a new gadget. That's just great.
when you want a slice of cheese, just about that. It's just if you find something or some kind of cheese slicer, because this is, it's soft like you would have American cheese, but it does hold up. The thing is, though, that one perfectly, okay? And now we have our grilled pimento cheese sandwich.
Looks great.
So this is also a big hit because when I started eating vegan, one of the things
in this program, order our. If you've enjoyed the recipes and cooking tips, order our. If you've enjoyed the recipes and cooking tips, you'll want to order our Food for Thought resource sheet. We'll tell you how you can order the cookbooks you've seen used on this program, along with other information that
Sabbath.
Oh, it's always fun.
And today taste them, wouldn't we, Claudia?
Absolutely.
It was good on
Just call us.